So, Mads.
So here we go.
Yeah.
So what we got here? It's a text adventure. I seem to have cropped the video a bit wrong, but you get the gist here.
Yeah, and anybody who's watching this, there is a link in the show notes where you can go and actually play this implementation of it.
You can even see it here in the browser.
Well, that's true, and it's all browser. So the one thing that's different in this version from the original is that in the original, the hardware would have been switching video feeds between the Apple II and the video.
Yeah.
So you would have been, the text would have disappeared, you would have seen the clip, and then you would have seen the text again.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different here.
So we've got a text adventure that somehow controls a Laserdisc, I guess.
Yes.
And plays little video clips. And I'm guessing I'm some kind of detective, something along those lines. I'm trying to stop the roller coaster from blowing up because, as we saw in the beginning, somebody placed a bomb on it. So here we go. Let's see. Do I want to have something to eat?
Oh, of course. Yeah,
so
I did this
lunch
too
today. So I was thinking I'm hungry.
Yeah,
Yes,
of course. You just
landed.
landed.
Yes.
And that had very positive results, as you had a very slow meal.
Yes. And here we go. I guess that was a wrong choice. I died already.
Yeah. Luckily, though, this amusement park likes to rebuild.
Yeah. And do the exact same thing the next year. You can try once more. Yep. And of course, yeah. I want to try again. So now I already know where I want to go, and I do not want something to eat. So, okay.
Now you can walk around here. Now, it's really interesting because at this point in time, Sierra is promoting very largely the Time Zone game. That was their massive 10-disc adventure game.
Yeah.
With standalone images. So you could really see how this would be like a total upgrade of existing AAA games. Of, instead of those weird vector-drawn still images, having full-blown animation for those images would really, really just blow people's minds.
So don't press this button because that blows up bomb. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. So you've learned that.
I've learned that. So it's time to look somewhere else. No, but this is nice. I like my text adventures, and this little added bonus of having those video clips is really nice, actually. But tell me about the setup back in the day. You'd need to have your Apple II plugged into your CRT, and you'd also need to have a Laserdisc player plugged into the CRT on the same channel in some
No. It's even cooler than that. It was an add-on card made by a company called Aurora. As far as we can tell, and I spoke with, there's a guy, and I got to look up his name, Ken Savait or so. Again, his Twitter feed is linked. He's one of the hosts of the Antic podcast. Do you ever listen to that?
No.
It's primarily Atari 8-bit stuff, but they do a lot of interviews with people who worked at Atari back in the day and stuff. And he was the first one to try to recreate this setup. And there's a video online, again, linked to YouTube, of him doing it. The difference is that this Aurora card, as far as he can tell, and I talked to him about it, there's no existing copies left of this Aurora card.
Okay.
I also couldn't find any ads for it. So they sent a demo version over to Creative Computing, but it doesn't seem to be that anybody used it after that.
Okay.
And what the card did was it plugged into the Apple II, and you plugged the Apple II video input into it, and you also plugged the video input of the Laserdisc player into it. Okay. So that then this card could switch out which one would go to the CRT.
Yeah.
In addition to that, it also plugged into the this only worked with this one version of the Pioneer player. So the original code that was printed in the magazine would only work with one version of the Pioneer player,
Yeah.
because it was the first Laserdisc player that had a detachable remote control with a cable. So you had ones that had an infrared or whatever wireless cable. You had other ones that had a remote control that was connected, but
Yes.
this one you could unplug it. So that allowed you to
Ah.
simulate the input through the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would plug that in, and one of the details that the programmer gave in his article was he had to not only figure out which frame was where, but he also then had to build in delays to account for the search time of the player.
Yeah, of course.
And for, how long it would take, because if he didn't do that, the player would simply stop at a different image because it hadn't gotten there yet and stuff.
Yeah.
And so there's all these problems that he had to figure out. Now, this implementation actually takes all of that delay code out because the delay is no longer there. It's a straight video file.
Yeah.
And also takes out the code that switches between the devices, because that was specialized code. So even though this was a basic program, it was using specialized opcodes that only worked with that one card.
Yeah.
And that's what these guys have had to do. Now, according to Kay, there is the guy who created this implementation, and I contacted him, but I haven't heard back yet. He's actually created, in addition to this digital modern HTML5 version, he has also created a custom card for his Apple II that actually does everything the Aurora card did. But as far as Kay knows, there's only maybe one or two of those in existence now. So
it's a hell of a setup.
A hell of a setup. And there's also a diagram in the Creative Computing magazine about how this whole thing works and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was a question that we were going back and forth on. Did it actually switch? Because of this version and the version Kay did that required two monitors, a lot of people, including Ethan, thought that that was also the original version.
Okay.
But I then cleared up with Kay that that's not the case, that they just ripped all that out and made it easier for themselves by using two monitors. And later versions of the Laserdisc player, which is what Kay was using, a much later version, because it had faster access times, all of those delay codes wouldn't work anymore anyway.
Okay.
So,
yeah, makes sense.
yeah. But there's an even more interesting anecdote, but I'll get to that in the main episode. So, okay, that is our 7 minutes of heaven with Adventures in Videoland.
Yes.